Okay, so welcome to the integrated sequential offer stack. So this is where it all comes together. So as a consultant, you can be going off and doing piecemeal things all over the place and different projects, or you can try to aim for consistency of process and solution, which gives you so many advantages. One, that you have a standard process that you follow, which two enables you to create high value onboarding programs, the white space that I talked about in the last video, where you can excel and increase positive expectation, and you can create systems around it. So let's have a look how you could build something like this up. So you can start off with something like the discovery call. So this is a traditional way of starting this. So obviously this could be Zoom or telephone, and this could come from inbound, or this could come from outbound, i.e. your LinkedIn approaches. So let me just move me up here. So Zoom or telephone. Cool. So you have a discovery call. So at the discovery call, there are a number of different ways that you would go. So here I call it the capability scan, but I would change these now to typically say the half-day consult. You could make it routine that everyone you spoke to went through a half-day consult. So no longer do you do proposals. So that could be your way of eradicating proposals all the time. Is you have the telephone call. So then you have can I help this person? A yes or no decision. If it's no, then you can refer them to other people and other places where you can help them. But you could standardize that no one will work with you unless they've gone through a half-day consult, which you would charge at whatever it is comfort level for you, 5k, 2.5k, whatever that is. And then you structure your half-day consult so it naturally leads to the next phase. Or you can bypass that, and it might be a proposal, and the proposal obviously might go to your first engagement offer, which can be an irresistible front-end offer as well. So I talked about that towards the end of the last video. So it's a productize offer, if you like. So you have this problem. Here is the solution that we've created. So I talked about it in terms of a mythical example of staff churn in first 30 days and reducing by 10%, for example. So that then is your irresistible front-end offer sprint that you might charge at 15k or 50k, whatever that is. So you can either go straight to there, depending on how the call goes. Do you have a high level of trust? Do you have a high level of authority built up? Are they saying all the right things that we really need to get going quick on this? Or even if that's the case, you might insist that everyone goes through this process. It's entirely up to you. And we also talked about, okay, so that could also be, discovery or audit, which I don't go through too much in this program because that is your skill and capability. Okay, so you have, say, the half-day consult. Then you give them a decision to work with you, either through the half-day sprint, a discovery audit, or as you're beginning to layer your available options as well. The other option that you might have is a monthly recurring program. So that might be, as you might position it as a fractional, i.e. you're going to do fractional consulting work, or whatever that is. So you've got a couple of different options as to where you go there. So if I was doing something like this productize offer here, the sprint, I would make sure that I built in something like a presentation of findings. So we've come in, we've created this solution which will help you reduce your staff churn, new staff churn in the first 60 days by 10%. We've come in, we've worked with you over a period of weeks, we've done that. Now I want a presentation of findings. I'm going to show you what we've done. So there's a couple of different reasons for that, and I talk about it, and I might loop the article back into here, but it's kind of like closing the loop, if you like. So it's saying at the beginning, you say, here's what we're going to do. And then at the end, you say, well, here's what we said we were going to do, and here's what we did. Yeah, so it's proving the value, and which is something that you very rarely do in consulting. You make these big promises at the beginning, you do the work, and then you kind of walk away. But you don't come back and say, hey, look, we said we were going to reduce staff churn by 10% in the first 60 days. We've been in the program now for running our program for 3 months, and what we've seen is, in fact, we didn't make 10%. We're on about 14%. Okay, so it's closing the loop of what you said you were going to do, and also it's your seeding for the next stage, and you can choreograph that as well, so you can make sure that you have the senior team available, so you can demonstrate to them what some of the challenges were, why they were having that problem in the first place. So then you would transfer that into, so while we were brought in to look at staff churn in the first 30 days, here's some of the other things that we found. Okay, so the way that you recruit, the way that you put messaging about your company, the people you're employing, all of these other things need work as well. And here are our recommendations of how to fix them. And we have another project now. Now that we've done that, it naturally makes sense to move on. And we have a way of packaging up. So here's the top 5 recommendations of the things that you need to be implementing in your business. And here's why, based on our expertise, you need to be considering these 5. And the package for us to fix those 5 is 50K or 100K, whatever it is that you're going to do. So you do then that program. So that's, if you like, your depending on where you go. So if you think about it, that might be your first sale there to do a half-day consult. And if that is, then that is your second sale. Or that could be your first sale. And then in which case, this is either your second sale or your third sale. So now you get that done. And again, at the end, you can have a presentation of findings. Yeah, so you close the loop session where you say, hey, here's what we said we were going to do. Here's what we've actually done. And now here's the next stage where you look at the next top 5 recommendations. And again, that might be 50K or 100K. And then you might look at side projects. Okay, so now, there's a toolkit where we can implement, which is the result measurement toolkit, which helps you monitor these things yourself. You've also got options if they you get to that stage, you've done this first part, and they say, actually, now we can take most of it from here. There's a process I go through with clients, which is about making cash from people that say no. So it's no surprise that a large percentage of people that you work with at some point are going to want to do it internally. So why would you not create a solution for that? So here you can create an option where you give their internal team all of your tools and processes and project manage them, and that might be to do the same top 5 recommendations, but instead of 50k, you would charge 25k, and you would project manage them and make sure it gets done. And in fact, when we look at this is actually probably more profitable than doing it yourself. So you can actually make more profit from people that traditionally say no to you by having a system in place to do that. And then, of course, within that, you can, once they go down that route, you can have then options. You could give them a strategic project plan and timeline, which is an additional 5k. You can do an internal comms plan to support or launch the change, which is an additional fee if they wanted to do that. So this is kind of the making money from people that traditionally might say no phase. So that's a very important part of the business. But other than that, you've got this sequential layered process. So typically, dealing with a consultant, they say, well, I can't put a systemized process in place because all of my clients are different. They've all got different problems. Well, yes, you can, because this is designed to address that. So it's not saying what the top 5 problems are. You can have an entry point, the half-day consult, or this irresistible front-end offer productized service might be different, but ultimately then you're drawing them into your bigger consulting offer, and you have a standard process where you pick out the top 5 things they need to fix. Then you fix those, you do the next top 5, etc., etc., or whatever that is for your business. And now you have stage gates. I did an MBA dissertation, and part of that was around new product development, and part of the whole thing, there was a guy who owned new product development. This is 20 years ago, and I did it, a guy called R.G. Cooper, and he created this thing called the stage gate new product development process. And essentially, if you think about you launching a new product, and it's if we only get 1% of the market, it could be worth 400 million, and it's like this big stuff. And what he did is he breaks the new product development process down into stage gates, and each stage gate has a predefined set of criteria, and there's no emotion then in the decision that's being driven by this big potential pot or the gold at the end of the rainbow. It's, did it pass those predefined criteria? Yes or no. If it's no, it goes back. If it's yes, it progresses. And then you work at the next phase. And then here, again, there's an easy yes, no decision. And ultimately, that has influenced my ideology around our sales process so much so that sometimes I forget how much it impacts it. So what we're looking here is easy to say yes to predefined stage gates. What do I need to do to get them to say yes to a half-day consult? Okay, cool. We've got that one ticked off. I can work on that, and I can create systems and processes around that. Now, what do I need to get them to do to work from the half-day consult to the first productized consulting offer? Or if I'm going there, what do I need to do to get a yes or no there? And again, so that is how all of this ties together. So most people really struggle at these key front end ones. So the half day consult, even your discovery course, your telephone course becomes so much easier when you have something to offer them at the end, because otherwise you're on that call, you're blindly panicking, thinking about how am I going to make a proposal out of this, how am I going to turn these calls into money, and but once you've got something that within 10 minutes you can show them that there's a tangible, demonstrable output of that telephone call, those telephone calls become so much easier. And then they're actually, each telephone call, 1 in 4 telephone calls turns into a half-day consult, 1 in 3 half-day consults turns into your sprint, 1 in 3 sprints turns into a 50k, top 5 recommendations. Now we're starting to build up some numbers, some predictability, and some serious traction for your consulting business. So that's how all of this fits together. So when you look in the workbook, you will see that you have a couple of pages. So we left off on the last video around writing out your stupid simple offers, so your half-day consults, or whether they be workshops, and then also you've got it as a your front-end sprint, if you like, or your front-end productized solution. But then also, what could your sequential offer stack be? So what I'm looking for is for you to, how would your sales process run? Would it be a call? Would it then run to a half-day consult? And then would it run to an irresistible front-end offer to fix A? And then would it be top 5? Have a look back through this video. What would it look like for you? And what would your standardized consulting offer be? If you're part of the community section and the feedback section of the program, obviously drop it in, let me know. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with this and what you create. Because once you have a standard process that you can funnel people into and is leading to multiple ways of creating revenue from front-end conversations, your life as a consultant gets so much easier, so much more predictability. So let me know how you get on and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.